From deep in the Burbank Media District, it's time for another edition of My Burbank Talks, presented by the staff of My Burbank. Now, let's see what's on today's agenda as we join our program.
Hello, Burbank. Craig Sherwood here with you once again, along with our co-host, Ross Benson.
As they say, tally-ho, what's them go, let's do a show, let's hit the road.
And still recuperating at home, but getting closer to a studio return is Craig Durling.
Thought he was at the zoo.
Good to be back. Still from the underground lair. As soon as I can walk to the studio, I will.
Now I see the elephant behind you, which is probably not. I know it's a picture you've taken. It's too bad. We've got to get you a color camera though.
Oh, this one just begged for black and white, but we should talk about the elephant in the room.
Well,
wait, isn't it elephant? I told you guys elephants are coming to Burbank.
Yes, they are.
July
That's
1st.
Right.
Yep.
See, like as if I knew that was happening or something. But this is a big bull male elephant in Amboseli National Park in southern Kenya, in the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro, which is actually a volcano. But
move to your left just a tad. There you go.
There you go. Get his ears forward like that, which is usually a sign of aggression or dominance, but he paid us no mind, really, and we paid him no mind. We just took our pictures and moved on.
He looks like he's an older elephant, too, a little more wise elephant who's been around a little bit.
Well,
I didn't ask him.
I was going to say, how
old he was. And you can't, counting the rings in the trunk like a tree doesn't help either.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, here we are for another week. Lots going on as usual. Let's start off with last week's winner, and that was Catherine Horan. And you know what she did, Ross?
She won the word of the week.
And you know what else she did?
She included her email
her mailing address.
Oh.
So I don't have to email her now and say, I need your address. So that's fantastic. Of course,
congratulations, Catherine, and thanks for listening and listening the whole way through the show for the word of the week, and then sending the email in.
Yes.
So I'm curious. I wonder if she's enjoyed the card yet. Was it the salad dressing you liked, the eggs, or
Ross, she's just won tonight, so we haven't sent the card yet.
Okay. Oh well.
Give us some time here. Things do move at
No, because what we don't tell people is the gift cards expire at 5 minutes after we mail them. So.
Yes, that's true. But last week's word was rose.
Just kidding.
And our gift card is, of course, good for a $25 gift certificate at Hill Street Cafe on Glen Oaks. And,
good stuff.
So we hope she enjoys that. And we will have another word of the week. Actually, here's a spoiler. It's words of the week.
Ooh.
Later in the show. So.
Later in the show, you have to stay awake. It's the only reason I stay awake. That and for, Ross's rant.
Yeah, well, that's the reason of
Thanks, Catherine. And feel free to email us a picture of your food, too. That's kind of fun.
Always fun. Always a good thing. So last week on Tuesday, we did our Ask the Mayor show. And we had our mayor, Nick Schultz, who actually zoomed in. He brought your Zoom, I guess, there, Craig.
Zoom
from Sacramento.
Zoom. Great show. He does such a great job answering those questions.
You know what? And here are the questions, Mayor. I'm not going to, I'm not going to fluff them up for you. And you know what? He's very good at answering, and giving what he knows, and yeah. I appreciate it, and
I saw him the other night, and the first thing I told him was I gave him a compliment on how good he is when he joins us on the program.
He's actually a very nice guy, and I told him the other night. I said, I'm really sorry that I may seem contentious to you sometimes during the show, but I feel I need to ask these questions to make it legitimate that it's worth listening to instead of saying, hey, what's your favorite color?
I like that it's not a total fluff piece. You have to ask them the tough questions. That's what people want answers to. And it's a very honest presentation, and he answers them to the best of his ability.
And you probably saw him being a dad the other day. He was chasing his two kids. I mean,
we're talking at the Chamber Awards.
Well, okay. You're right. The other night, he was
and we'll get to that too.
He was all over the place chasing them two kids.
Energizer Bunny out there.
Yeah, you don't. If you're a father, I guess, of kids like that, you don't need to go to a gym because you'll get all the running you need right there. So,
right. But if anybody out there that hasn't seen the show or wants to see this last week's Ask the Mayor show, it's up on YouTube at the My Burbank News, My Burbank Talks,
just My Burbank on YouTube. Just My Burbank on YouTube.
Okay, and can they get to it through the site myburbank.com as well?
Yes, I can. And plus,
I'm asking the questions like I don't already know the answer.
And plus, they can get it on every major podcast platform too, on My Burbank Talks.
Great. Ask the Mayor, My Burbank Talks. Good stuff.
So
once a month, right?
Once a month, yes.
And they hope it'll continue after he's no longer.
We've talked to Vice Mayor Perez a little bit. I think she's on board with it. So, and we had Mayor Constantine Anthony when he was as the mayor, and he came in a couple of times and kind of slacked off near the end. I think he had other things going on. Anyhow, so
keep an ear open for the next one coming up, so you can get your questions in.
Absolutely, and I do send out posts on our Facebook and our Twitter to let people know that send your questions in. On Thursday, we had another hat thrown in the ring for city council. And that's Hovhannes Tenoyan. Tenoyan? Am I saying it right, Ross? Tenoyan?
Looks like it.
Tenoyan. Tenoyan. He has now announced his run for council. He's going to join now Chris Rosati, Judy Wilkie, and Robbie Brody as candidates for one open seat we know of. And, well, there are two open seats, but one completely open because Nick Schultz cannot run. And Constantine Anthony is still not announced, although he did last year say he was not going to run, but he has not said recently if he's going to run or not. So that is still, we're trying to find a jury on that one. Now that they're done with Trump, maybe they can come over and help him out.
I don't know if you want that jury.
So, city council race is coming, and I think it's going to be very interesting. And as always, it always changes the dynamic. I think right now the dynamic's pretty good with the council, so we will see. So Friday, we had a ribbon cutting, and it was not your typical ribbon cutting of a new business opening in Burbank. It was actually for something new at the Water and Power building, and our Lynn Lipinski was there, shot some great pictures, and did a great story for us on myburbank.com, which you should really take a look at and read. But Ross, anything you want to add to that?
Well, innovative, is that the word? I read her story, and she has some background in apparently some powering and so forth. And her story will be up probably tomorrow or so. And what our city is doing, it's the first city in the state that is looking at alternative powering. And what it is how they power things and use batteries. And at night they recharge, and it was fascinating. And
is it like a solar type situation?
No, it's all self-contained. It's in a one of these shipping containers.
But in solar, you get the power during the day, and then you turn it off, and at nighttime you run off batteries.
No, there's nothing outside of this trailer. You'll see the pictures.
Okay,
it's all interior, and what is amazing is what they have. They can power 350 homes, I think it said, on one of these battery-powered.
How does the truck get its power?
Truck doesn't need its power. It's generating power by taking the acid from batteries and doing something to it. Like I said, it's in her story.
Okay.
Very fascinating. I wasn't there.
I have to read that story.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So Burbank is, again, it's state-of-the-art.
Well, next time I get acid reflux, I know where to go and get rid of it.
Okay.
Boom.
Don't I have a thing for that? Yeah, I think that's what we do. There we go. Moving on to the weekend, we had a busy weekend. The Burbank Chamber of Commerce held their Excellence Awards, and they used the Nickelodeon Animation Studios as their venue, and 17 different food places were there, and you could sample all sorts of amazing things.
And we were all there. We had the honor of sitting in on that. It was a great event.
Very nice of the chamber to invite us, and we went there. And in fact, we're working on a little video for it right now, and Lynn's working on a story for it. I think but it was just really good to see so many people in the community there. I don't know of anybody who wasn't there, actually. It was packed.
Yeah, they had a DJ, they had several food vendors and beverage vendors, and the silent auction, and a great venue too, that courtyard outside Nickelodeon Animation, where they make SpongeBob, by the way, I learned.
Now you know me, you know what, I'm always a guy that has to bring something negative, and I've got to do it here, even though it was a great night. And that is maybe next year, let's not play the music so loud beforehand.
Yeah,
we were all kind of having to yell over a little bit.
We were talking about that.
Yeah. So
while we were yelling about that, because that's what we had to yell at each other to hear each other over the music.
The music was good, but it's just a little too loud. It wasn't really background music, but it became forefront music.
Yeah, and we weren't even that close to the speakers.
No.
We were halfway back. But
this event, I've gone to a million galas, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. And every gala you go to, you either got to get into a fancy shirt, pants that don't fit, the right color socks, and the whole works. You got to get your hair made up. The women go looking fantastic.
Got to get your hair did.
This event, Jamie's intention was it's layback. You can wear shorts. You can wear, button-down shirts without ties. It was just, and that is her intention when she did this.
In all honesty, I wouldn't go if I couldn't dress comfortably. And because I do not believe in the dress-up thing, I don't think clothes make the person. I think the person makes the person. So I was very grateful to her for that decision, and I think everybody there was very grateful too.
That was a fun atmosphere for sure. And I think maybe the lack of a super formal requirement there helped that along. But either way, I think it would have been a great event.
Let's talk about who they honored. They honored Tequila's as Small Business of the Year,
a sponsor of this fine program.
Yeah, and two great people. I met her husband for the first time, and they came over to say hi. And
Carlos,
very, very nice guy. And
last week Craig and I, Durling and I, got to stop in, and again, Patty invited us to come and Thursday night, and Craig, you got to sit down with Carlos and talk for a couple of hours.
Well, you were chatting with Patty for quite a while, and Carlos was sitting at the table across from me, and I don't usually get to spend a lot of time with him because he's running around doing the business part, and we had a great conversation, many topics, but it was nice quality time. We got to sit there and kibitz over some good food.
I will say, they are definitely, for the award they won, they are so qualified. What they do for this community.
So many fundraisers.
I mean, she's thinking, she is so into the cancer program at St. Joe's. Her family has been, Home LA. She does a Christmas program. All these events.
But anybody who needs a dine-out night, she accommodates them.
She has her calendar, and also people ask on social media, where can I have this little party? The back patio at Tequila's, is just
a hidden gem.
And it's not just a great local restaurant, but almost, we go there quite frequently. And there's it seems quite often there's some wedding reception or a family gathering or something going on the back patio. Very festive, and they have live music there on Thursdays and Fridays, but we don't want to ignore everybody, all the other winners
let's move
from
on
that night, but go to Tequila's if you get a chance.
So College Help Squad was the emerging small business of the year. Nothing Bundt Cakes received the Community Impact Award. Cheryl Fox was the Chamber Ambassador of the Year. And both Burbank YMCA and BTAC were both honored with the Heart of the City recognition. And we know who won the Heart of the City recognition last year. In fact, that's our own Ross Benson. So,
and it was the YMCA, much like Ross Benson, it was the YMCA's 100th anniversary, right?
Wait a minute. Are you trying to say that I'm 100 years old? Wait, I thought I just celebrated birthday. But
you said you went to a million galas.
The first hole when they built the YMCA.
If you went to,
you're gonna laugh, Craig. I went to Camp Earl Anna. That was an old camp that they had up every year. Good old YMCA when I was a little kid. Went to good old Camp Rolana from the YMCA.
Well, it was a nice night, and besides Ross and Craig, we had Lynn and her husband Steve, who we got to spend some time with. And here's a side note, which will bring it a little down the line. Our own Lynn Lipinski has been elected the new president of Zonta. So congratulations!
Don't we have a drum roll for that one?
Well, I don't know.
Or a fanfare, or trumpets, or
Yeah,
something. But
boy,
that's great. That's great.
Really is. And
well, I will say, Jamie, she has done it better every year, and she loves this taste of Burbank. I didn't get to eat the other day, but I'll tell you, somebody told me they had some brisket that was cooked for 36 hours, melted in your mouth. I didn't try it. There was
unfortunately, it wasn't done until 24 hours after the event. They started it late. So.
But they had cotton candy, and they had Bundt cakes. And they had.
I've never seen a cotton candy station like that. They had different flavors you could drizzle on it. They had all toppings and jimmies and things to sprinkle on top. I didn't have any because I would have gotten it all over myself. But a lot of people walking around with that cotton candy.
Well, I don't think Dave Roberts would have had any either because he does not believe in bunning.
So we're talking about another winner now. Okay. Dave Roberts doesn't believe in.
Well, I got a picture.
Everybody, a round cake joke.
But the Bundt cakes are they're phenomenal. I know during the last year during the State of the City, they had one. Everybody had one at a table, and I took it home and I looked at that and I said, I got to give it a try here, diet or not. And holy cow! I'm glad I was home and couldn't get another one somewhere because I would.
Did it make an impact on you?
Yes, it did. Absolutely, it did.
That's why they got the Community Impact Award.
Well, I was impacted.
Well, I do know. I don't think we put it in the show notes, but I thought I saw on the calendar they're doing a ribbon cutting. They've been open for a couple months, doing a soft opening. I think this Friday I'm assigned to a ribbon cutting at the Bundt Cakes over at the Empire Center.
We'll take a look.
We'll have to check with your assistant.
But I'll tell you, the event was fantastic. Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for the week that was, because that's the week that, and there was really no city meetings going on. Because all the city meetings they held over for this week.
Oh, it was a holiday week, right?
Oh, it's a holiday day.
Well, one holiday, and the city turns it into a week.
Yes, they do. Boy, isn't that the truth? So, anyhow, that's for the week that was. We're going to have a quick commercial break, and we will be back with you in a second.
Enjoying the show right now? Thinking you may want to do your own podcast? Burbank Talks is renting out our podcast studio on an hourly rate. You can do audio podcasts or both audio and video, and even bring in guests to talk with. We will help you get set up on podcast platforms and start a YouTube channel, and we can edit your productions to make you look and sound your very best. If you're interested, please drop us an email at studiorentals@myburbank.com. That's studiorentals@myburbank.com, and we will get back to you. Now, back to our show.
Okay, Craig Sherwood back with you.
Wait, time out. Did I hear him say during the commercial, this isn't my real voice? It really is my voice, folks. Nothing's been altered to alter my voice. But when you do a podcast, we can sweeten you and whatever they call it.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well, it sounds like you don't listen to our commercials too much. It says we can make you sound professional. And that's what you're doing. You're making me sound professional.
Okay, well, there you go. You're professionally sounding. So, anyhow, Craig Sherwood back with you, along with Ross Benson.
We know he's here.
Wait a minute, there's an elephant too. I mean, there's Craig.
Is it? Look out!
And Craig Durling, of course.
Don't look now. Still here. Still having a staring contest with Simba back there.
Absolutely.
No, Simba was a lion, right?
Lion Cub, I think. Was it Simba the Lion Cub? I don't know.
What show was that, Craig? Lion King.
Lion King.
I don't watch cartoons.
That's not a cartoon.
Oh, really?
It was a musical.
Live action?
It was a musical. Yes, it's been at the Pantages. Came from New York, and they're doing it again.
So I'm guessing Mr. Sherwood doesn't go to the theatre either.
No, I go to the theater, and I thought it was a movie. I thought Lion King was a movie.
It was a movie. It was an animated film.
It's a cartoon. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a lion roars? Oh no, it's Durling that does the lion roar.
Well, I can't believe we don't have a lion here. Oh, we have how about a tiger?
Moving right along.
Okay. I gotta.
How we got from elephants to lions to
Yes, tigers. Oh my. Okay.
oh my.
Oh
It's
my.
like the ark. Like the ark here.
So today we had Arts in Public Places. Their meeting was canceled. So I guess.
So we didn't have arts in public places.
No, I have no idea why. The Landlord Tenant Commission did have their meeting today at the Community Services Building, and they had 3 issues to take up. One was a no-fault eviction and tenants' rights questions for 2247 North Buena Vista Street. They had a security deposit and wear and tear questions at 625 East Verdugo. And a no-fault eviction, rent increase, and tenants' right question for 2736 North Lamer Street. Now, these are all they are is just questions, and they can get, but no action. But the city council is working to beef up the Landlord-Tenant Commission, their rights, the entire process, and I think it's going to come out pretty good once they get a decision.
Means they'll actually be able to take action on these topics, or
yes, they're going to have
intervene.
They're going to have a commission that's actually going to be funded, and have they're going to hire some lawyers and the whole thing. So,
ooh, wow, it's going to be a thing.
Well, Mr. Durling, these meetings are just so involved, and even now these are all on the agendas. They give the address because the people, it's all part of the Brown Act. So,
yeah, I've never seen this, their agenda before, I guess. I've seen the meeting announcements, and I never realized that their agenda had specific addresses on it. But I guess that allows them to talk about it, right?
Yes, it does. Because they're on the agenda, I'm allowed to give those addresses out. So moving on to Tuesday, tomorrow night, or maybe tonight if you're watching this on Tuesday, or earlier this week.
Or last night if you're watching it on Wednesday.
Yes, you never know. The city council is going to be meeting. And of course, once again, we're going to have a full agenda. Instead of having multiple meetings, we'll just have multiple agenda items.
Well, on that first item, they have had multiple meetings.
Yes.
Is this the third, fourth, fifth, or seventh?
This is the third
installment.
This is the third. And they still will have to have one more because this is I'm not sure if it takes 2 meetings to pass the budget or one, but anyhow, they're going to have.
I wonder what's going to have more installments: this public hearing on the budget, or your Rabbit Hole podcast.
Well, the Rabbit Hole podcast, it will have many iterations. So there'll be a public hearing on the new 24-25 budget. I think it's the first reading basically to pass it. That you have to do it again one more time before July 1st, which is one more. They'll have one more meeting in June, so they'll have to do it then. Only 2 meetings a month. We can't overdo it. Then we're going to have the second reading, which should be the final reading for the firearm retailers ordinance. Councilmember Mullins missed the last meeting, but they still voted 4-0 with the basic ordinances they had. The only thing they're really getting into, they wanted to look at, and it looks like they're going to change, is the distance from 500 feet to 1,000 feet from residential zones to sensitive uses, from residential zones and sensitive uses from the gun stores. They're going to be
sensitive use being a school or something.
Yeah,
like that,
things like that. Right.
Now, there's something I don't want to jump ahead on you, but at that you put at the end of the note here about whether that distance is as the crow flies. We're still asking this question. We
did ask the mayor, and he thought, he assumed. That's it. Yeah, he assumed.
Well, that's the thing.
And I said, you assume that, but it's not written down, nor is it written in the state law.
When I was watching the Ask the Mayor, the show, I was waiting for the answer to that because it needs to be a definite answer. While encouraging, his answer was basically, I believe it to be as the crow flies. That's a detail that's going to be litigated in the future, right?
Oh, yes.
It needs to be codified now. We need an answer for that. That needs to be in the letter of the law. That needs to be codified to eliminate that question in the future, because it's going to come up.
I would actually like to see it a little more even identified as, is it from the property line, from the store front entrance? What exactly?
Agree. We've talked about that too. Yeah.
So I think
property line to property line, door to door. What is that? These need to be defined, because in my personal experience, these gaps in the statutes are where they're argued in court. That's where they're won and lost and argued. So these are simple things that they can close the door on at the very beginning here and won't need to deal with it again.
Well, lawyers look for ambiguities. And if there's not, this is not one, there isn't, so hopefully.
And for the number of times the question's been asked, we've never gotten a hard answer on it.
You know what
which tells me it's not in the code.
You know what I'm going to do tonight? I'm actually going to email the council tonight after our show, and I'm going to ask them those 2 questions to make sure they look into it. Now, will they or not? I don't know, but I will actually spend my citizen time as a Burbank citizen and do that.
Well,
anyhow, the only other thing they really are making sure they're requiring barriers in front or behind of any doors and or any floor to ceiling windows that could be breached by a vehicle. So, and in
Makes
some
sense
cases, they can't put a barrier up in front of a door because of people need to walk. So they have to do within 3 to 4 inches, I think it is, on the inside of the door. So they have their choice of either inside or outside, depending on how their store is located.
But they'll have to be there somewhere.
Yes.
Good. That makes sense.
Besides that, you know what? I'm satisfied with the whole thing. I think everybody did a lot of due diligence. I think we have a good resolution. So
getting there.
That's all we can ask for. They're also going to have a selection to the new Hollywood Burbank Airport Citizens Advisory Committee. Now, you know how I feel about advisory committees. Let's talk about the Landlord Tenant Commission. They're an advisory committee. Too many, you would hope that committees have some power. If not, if they're just advising, nobody has to take their advice. And I'm not sure what they're going to be advising on. So that's my naivety. So I'll have to find out more. But I think Burbank and Glendale and Pasadena each get 3 members for this committee. So we'll find out more about it. Rossi, you got anything on that, or?
No, it's kind of like 3 commissioners, and I think I have a feeling what they are working on is to get input from residents, like they did when they built the terminal. You remember, there were many, what did they call them? I forget what there was a requirement, and you go to different of these events and
stakeholder events.
Yeah, and that's how they came up with what the people wanted in the terminal. And I have a feeling that's probably what this advisory committee will be doing. Is
we'll find out. We'll get more on it once they have their meetings. They're also going to make sure to have a declaration for the November 5th election. And once again,
now not the airport. We're moving on.
No, we're moving on.
Okay.
And once again, 2 council seats are going to be open. One completely will be a new person, and the other one we don't know yet. So
that by new person you mean this is a full term spot?
Yes, they're both full term spots.
They both full term. Okay.
Yes. Interestingly, the school board is going to have 3 people up for re-election, except they've changed their rules, and only 1/5 of Burbank can vote for each of the 3, except 2/5 of Burbank cannot vote at all because they've gone to districts, school board districts. So I don't know if they've done that to make sure that they get reelected and nobody else runs against them. I don't know, but not good. Not good. They caved in and changed it without really notifying the public. I guarantee nobody in the public even knows what they're doing. We'll get into that more later.
More to come.
This I find interesting also. They're having a discussion of the media district specific plan. Specific. I've got to get my better.
Here, you want to borrow my tooth? Here, comes out.
Look at that chiclet. they've been working on this for a long time. I looked at some of the report, and it's long, and But here's what I'm a little confused about. They're having a discussion about the plan tomorrow at the council meeting, and then Wednesday they're going to go out and have a discussion with the public about it. And I'm trying to think of, wouldn't the public one come first before the council, or B, what's going to happen? I just 2 days in a row to have the same subject matter with meetings doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But we will see. So,
well, the only thing I can think of is they want to have their ducks in a row before it's open to public discussion. So maybe they know they have their marching orders. That, you know what I mean? Just so they're on the same page before they open up for public discussion.
We may go out to Buena Vista Library and record the meeting and find out and post it on our site, or on our YouTube site, so people can see what's talked about, because there's a lot going on there. You know, we're talking about transportation, you're talking about housing, you're talking about commercial building.
Well, but you don't have a say because the studio is a media district adjacent.
Yes, that's true. We are media, and they told me it's because we are in an R1 neighborhood. So R1 doesn't count. But fine, it doesn't count until somebody has a SB9 project and raises half the block and says your zoning doesn't matter. But
you can still go to the meeting.
And finally, they're going to negotiate an agreement with Home Again LA to transform old Fire Station 13, the one located on Buena Vista, just south of San Fernando. That used to be Station 13 for many years.
How about Station 3?
Oh, Station 3, that's true. Station 3. It's to be used as a homeless access center that will serve families. So, thank goodness we are putting that building to a good use. Home Again LA is a fine organization, and in today's going on with people, I think it's something that is really needed. So,
well, I happen to know that building. It's originally because of San Fernando and Buena Vista, they wanted to move it 25 years ago because at one time the traffic used to back up so bad there when the trains went through. I know a fire captain that once went out with a hydrant wrench to stop cars so the engines could get out to respond. But now that they've redone San Fernando, that whole neighborhood is kind of changed. And Albert Hernandez with Home LA, they've been working on this for a long time. That building, think about it, built probably in the 40s, 50s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's
old concrete building.
I'm going to claim ignorance on this. Where was the old Fire Station 13?
Oh, do you know where there's a gas station? It's called World Oil or something on the corner of Buena Vista and San Fernando. Buena Vista, yeah, on San Fernando, there's a big gas station there, right? It is right next door to that gas station.
You're kidding.
Oh, I kid about a lot of things, but I'm not kidding about that.
Well, you can't tell by the front of it because after it was
And what's funny about it is it was only built as a single engine station. Oh. So it's not a engine now wouldn't even fit into that place. So
I can't believe I didn't know about this. I'm very familiar with the Jack in the Box at that intersection.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually a two equipment because that's where RA13 was for many years, and an engine 13.
But they couldn't go side by side.
Yeah, no, they were side by side.
Where they were.
Yes.
Okay.
They had to stack them like
firewood.
Correct.
I lived right down the street there at Kenmere. But that building needs AC redone. It needs to get the lead out of the building. It needs quite a bit. And Home LA, I know residents in that neighborhood are worried that they're putting little houses in the back lot. The agreement is, it's where they're moving their offices. They're not putting little homes. If anything, maybe one to transition people, but that is not the purpose of it. If you know, they're building totally separate for homeless people. But Home LA is really...
It's a former Boys and Girls Club location.
Well, after the fire station, right. But repurposing...
Oh, I know that building. Was it that building? Yes. I know that building.
Yeah.
Oh. Geez. Sorry, I've taken up... I've sidetracked the whole thing.
No. You know what? If you didn't know, there's a lot of people that didn't know also. I mean, that's what we do here.
I didn't know there was ever a fire station, but now I know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, so it's just, again, this has been in the works for...
In fact, I think they didn't want to actually ever take that out because they wanted to go underground under the railroad tracks like at Hollywood Way, and they couldn't do that because they couldn't take that fire station out. So that's one of the reasons they never went underground there. Now, of course, they've raised raised the train tracks above, but for the longest time, they wanted to have a solution for that intersection.
And Fire Station 13 has moved over on Thornton, and a lot of people call that the Taj Mahal of fire stations. It's 3 double doors. It has a space for what they call a task force, which means an engine, an RA, and a truck company. Burbank doesn't have that many, but if they do, at one time, and you might see it with the new terminal being built as Burbank plans for 2035, putting another truck company out there to respond to the airport and take care of that whole
Plus,
area.
there's a very nice park right next door to it.
It is. Has a fire engine in the park you can climb on. What park is that? Robert Lundigan.
There you go. So on Tuesday, if you don't want to go to the city council meeting, but you need to go somewhere, the Burbank Athletic Federation is going to hold their meeting at 6:00 at the Community Services Building. So nothing exciting on their agenda, but they're having a meeting at the same exact time. Let's move on to Wednesday. Arts and Public Places, for some reason, they're not having another meeting again. They've canceled that meeting on Wednesday also. I find it interesting they would have 2 meetings the same week, but I guess whatever happened.
Well,
that
again,
just means when they reconvene, they're going to have 3 meetings.
Yes.
Well, again, so, we're getting into summer, and maybe somebody had some plans that originally was on the calendar that they didn't plan right.
Yeah.
So.
The youth board meeting is basically canceled also. I find it interesting that they would not have a youth board the entire year. They only have it during school months. I guess in the summertime, the youth aren't active.
Everyone's going to the Civil Service Board meeting.
There you go.
That's what's happening.
Because that's at 4:30 at City Hall.
Right.
And so enjoy your time if you go to that. But if you don't want to go to the Civil Service Board meeting at 4:30, wait till 5:30, and you can go to the Domestic Violence Task Force meeting at the Community Services Building. They're going to have an update on the financial literacy course for domestic violence survivors. They're going to have a presentation of an update regarding the ordinance for the prevention of human trafficking. They're going to have a discussion on the Domestic Violence Task Force goals and objectives, so what their goals and objectives are. And then they're going to discuss how frequently they want to have their meetings. So that's what's on their agenda for...
Actually, some very important topics on that agenda. That'll be an interesting one.
And I'm told that when they have these meetings, there are several people. I mean, besides the departments, police department, fire department, and city attorney, and all the different departments, it is a rather full meeting, and that's...
Well, it's new for the city of Burbank, and they're really starting to beef it up more, and it's a good thing. But now, after you're done with that meeting, because this is Burbank, we can't have just have 1 or 2 meetings in a day. At 6:00, we have a public workshop. Oh, once again, for the Media District Specific Plan, and that's at the Buena Vista Library from 6 to 7:30.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, so I guess after whatever happens in the council meeting, it's going to be maybe they'll just record it and play back the recording. Who knows what they're going to do? So, be interesting to see their presentation at the library. So hopefully all the people in the media district will have a chance to see what they're planning. And let me tell you what, it's a long report. Moving on to Thursday, our Water and Power Board. And once again, I consider this the most intelligent board in the city because I would say 3/4 of what they talk about are above my pay grade. So
And in case you've lost your place on the calendar during the show here, we're talking about Thursday, June 6th.
yes.
So recalibrate your calendar. That's where we're at right now.
Well, one of the things they're going to do is they're going to see, once again, another board that actually recommends things to the city council. They're going to recommend to the council that we move from stage 2 to stage 3 of the Sustainable Water Use Ordinance, effective on July 1st. Basically, that means we're going to move to 3 days a week of watering instead of the 2 that we're allowed now on Tuesday and Saturday. So there'll be 3 days a week, and then, we have water reserves now, and it's the summer months. So they're going to recommend to the council that they make the move, and only the city council can actually make the move.
That's effective all the way through October, right?
Yes.
And they also have the new general manager who will probably, be able to talk a bit and introduce herself.
Friday, the Betsy Lukey Creative Arts Center is going to hold an instructor show from 7 to 9 p.m. And that's located, I don't think it's still in use, but the Burbank Little Theater we used to be called Olive Park. Now it's called George Isaiah Park. Behind the rec center. Is the rec center still called, is that called the George Isaiah Rec Center now, or is that called the Olive Rec Center?
Olive, I think. The park is George Isaiah, but
okay, well, that's behind. You can enter off of Clark. It's right next to the Burbank Historical Society. So they have a lot of great art events there.
Do you know what an instructor show is? What kind of instructors are putting on a show? Or
it did not say on the calendar.
Oh, okay.
So, but I thought I would mention it because there are other people out there who enjoy artwork, and I know that's a very busy place at times.
Nevertheless, there will be a show.
Moving on to Saturday, we're going to have a kitten fair.
Oh, Saturday's going to be so fun.
Yeah, a kitten fair.
I couldn't help myself but put this on our rundown.
It's a kitten adoption event from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It says, view the adorable kittens that are up for adoption at the Burbank Animal Shelter.
Look at that.
So,
I will say,
that'd be fun.
It's kitten season and they're mating like crazy. I know they're looking for fosters. They're looking for people to adopt. They are out of space for kittens. So if you're thinking you want a kitty, this is a great time to go get a kitty.
And go early to get the best selection. 10 o'clock. Be there when they open the door.
You know what? In all honesty, I would really like to get the last one. That's the one I would really want. Just because I know the feeling.
The little runt?
Yeah.
You want the runt?
Like back in the days
they're cats, but can a cat be an underdog?
Might as well. Like the old days of Stevenson, I was always picked last, so I would know the feeling.
But that should be a fun event. But Saturday and Sunday, I remember covering this and attending last year. But the Jackalope Burbank Arts Festival on San Fernando is Saturday and Sunday, the 8th and 9th. So this next weekend. This coming weekend.
Yep.
Where are we? Yeah. This coming weekend.
11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
11 to 6, and it goes San Fernando goes all the way from Magnolia to Angelino.
Do they close Olive?
Plenty of stalls. Huh?
Do they close Olive?
Yeah.
Yeah, in past
last year they did.
Because they have too much foot traffic.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was all closed, but the whole stretch was lined with different vendors, arts and crafts, artisanal foods and jams and art, and it was a cool little event.
So that's both Saturday and Sunday. So if you are looking for something to do, we should have some nice weather this weekend. So,
and if you want more information, you can go to their website. It's Jackalope Fair. What is it? JackalopeArtFair.com/Burbank.
And they run these in a lot of different cities.
Yeah, they do have several of them around. So this one, if you just go to JackalopeArtFair.com, you can find the Burbank one. But if you want to go directly there, just add it after the /.
And then Sunday, actually in the morning before you go, if you go to the Jackalope on Saturday and on Sunday you have something to do, or if you're busy on Saturday, well, you have two things to do on Sunday. And the first thing would be to stop by Johnny Carson Park from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the Road Kings car show.
Oh, boy.
Every year. And I think there's 150 cars out there or something?
300.
300?
Yeah.
There are cars everywhere. There.
And odds are Jay will make an appearance there.
Yep. He was there last year.
Yep.
I think they have been parked cars up in the trees. There's so many cars.
Well, people don't realize that park is pretty spread out. You have up above the other side of the river. You have the lower side of the river. So yeah, it's lots of cars. But also, besides cars, there's tons of vendors. There's food available. There's car what do you call it, accessories. I've just been told that the Children's Hospital is going to have a booth at this event. I'm also been told that My Burbank Talks is going to do a podcast at that event.
We are?
Well,
what?
That's what it says on my notes.
Oh, okay. Wow. I better set my alarm for Sunday.
Holy moly, I got to buy sunscreen.
For you, Craig, SPF 100.
I just Crisco. I just have a can of Crisco ready to go.
There you go.
Well, it'd be a lot of fun, and I think it's once again a huge community event. It's also fundraising for the Road Kings, who give all that money back to the community. It doesn't go to their pockets. It's their big fundraising thing of the year, and they support. It
doesn't go to fixing up their cars or anything like that. They turn that money around goes right back to the different community needs.
Right.
And I just got hot off the press. Our own Ashley Erickson will be there doing a story, and she says she wants to do a podcast. So
there we go.
We're going to have the whole My Burbank crew out there. Then we're going to have to deploy the whole team.
And Lord knows we need a woman's point of view. Trust me.
Well, I'm trying to convince her husband to be on our podcast because he can tell you about everything about cars, from the front bumper to the back bumper, from the bottom of the tires on.
We'll have plenty of people wanting to talk to us, get on the air talking about cars there, huh?
There's some classics. You look at these cars that these guys, I've gone to how many of these events, and it just blows me away that, they keep these cars well preserved in their garages, covered. And when they bring them out, they are just amazing. I mean, you want to see some classics. And, Road Kings have several hundred members, but just the different cars that are there, and motorcycles, bicycles. And could you do it at a better place?
And they were well represented at the Chamber Awards event the other day as well. I saw them proudly wearing their nicely pressed Road Kings shirts.
Well, you probably didn't realize that they were responsible for all the bars.
Really?
They couldn't drive, so they were pouring all the drinks. Yes.
No, I didn't know that. Yep. Well, good for them. You see them everywhere around town. You see them.
Oh, they're
always involved in something.
Well, and that's how, they charge their members to attend these events. That money they raise, they turn it right back to Burbank. I mean, they've given to several organizations, so good to
have we not said the two words yet? We must have said Road Kings by now.
Whoa, wait a second.
Who's asleep at the switch?
Oh, holy cow. You've got to be kidding me.
Come on, we're torturing people. It's the end of the show.
That's
for
right.
Crying out loud. And who's steering this boat?
Yeah, and what does this mean?
Road Kings.
Road Kings is our what?
That sound means Road Kings is the word or words of the week.
There we go.
Week.
Words of the week. Holy cow.
Now, what do they do with that information, Mr. Sherwood?
Well, they're going to send an email into contest@myburbank.com, and in the subject line put Road Kings. And once again, send your address along with it, and we will pick somebody to win that $25 gift card to Hill Street Cafe.
That's right. You don't have to be first. You just have to get it in because the winner is randomly chosen.
In fact, the person who won this week was, I think, the 6th person. And when I said Alexa, picking her between 1 and 14.
But you never know. Get it in
6.
there because you might be the only person to send it in this week, and you could win.
You should never know.
Don't think.
Yeah.
There might be 1, there might be 1,000, but you can't win if you don't get in there.
Better chance to win than the lotto.
Road Kings.
So, Ross, I think if you have the Dodger cam available, I think Dodger's kind of falling asleep on us tonight. So,
look at that. He's sound asleep.
Look at that.
We got to wake him up because it's the best. It's my favorite part of the show.
Well, you know what's going to wake him up? This and this only.
Ross's rant. Ross's rant. Ross's rant.
I'd take a flamethrower to this place.
Me. What's up, Doc?
It must be time for my rant. And I am prepared.
You think?
You'd think. You'd think. Well, driving around, as I do quite a bit in this city, I come up underneath the new Empire underpass. Gorgeous. They spent zillions, billions on doing that new underpass. And where Vern's Campers used to be, it was supposed to be absolute appliances moving in there. They put a construction fence up with that material on it. It got graffitied every day. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the job got stopped, if the land got sold. They decided to back out, but it looks like shit. And you get off the freeway to go into Burbank, and you get to see this empty lot with. Today, I drive by it 2-3 times a day, having lived on the hill. And it's funny, I got to thinking, when there used to be an old post office right down the street there. Craig, I think, Durling, you had a P.O. box there.
There was always my P.O. box for a long time.
There was always either a broken window or a couch sitting in the parking lot. Now, after Marlindo Lanes, there's a Marlindo Apartments. There's either a refrigerator or a couch sitting almost every single day. And
not a great first impression if that's where you're coming into the city.
Exactly. And it's kind of, like I said, the material on the fence is torn down. It's something the city needs to really think about when you're coming into the city. Is that how you want people to see it? And the other rant I have, there was a big accident on Saturday night while we were all enjoying ourselves at the chamber event. Well, most of us were. There was an accident in Magnolia and Lima. Vehicle went into a building. Good old Bell Cottage. There's been pictures on Facebook and other social media. I happen to know the owners quite well, David and Teresa Hanna. Their daughter was running the store. There was a customer standing inside the doorway, and he heard the screech outside and looked and jumped out of the way. They showed me their security footage, how this guy got out. The car came totally in. But what gets me is the fire department comes out. They were out there when the tow company pulls the car out. They don't red tag the building. They don't yellow tag the building. They told the owner, "Oh, this is private property. That's why we don't offer that service as a building engineer to come out and red tag."
Wait a second. So if your house gets destroyed by an earthquake, they don't go to your house anymore and red tag that because it's on private property?
They only red tag public buildings?
Well, see, that's what gets me, because think about those trees, those nice pine trees that all fell. They red tagged those houses, a couple of them.
They're on private property.
That's right. So it kind of really gets me that why...
It's the new fire department policy, or they just didn't want to call somebody out on a Saturday from the city building department? Is that,
Well,
I mean...
I know things have changed over the years, but I remember building inspectors...
It does not sound like our fire department, though. They usually bend over backwards to help people and for the city.
I'm not sure that was good information that was either given to them or whatever, because running with that statement, that means that they would only service city-owned buildings, government buildings.
Well, and how could that be? Because they're the official, if the building is inhabitable, they're the ones that need to put a notice on it.
Well, they do, or they call out a
building
city
inspector.
engineer or a building inspector to do that.
And we've heard many times on the radio.
They may not want to make the call. Maybe that's what they're avoiding, is making that decision. But you call a building inspector out in the middle of the night to make that decision. But
you would think that. And I know
like
they were, when a crash like that happens, they're kind of coming from they had to get a board up company out there. There's no other entrance into that building. There's an entrance for, in the back, but it goes through their warehouse. But it's unfortunate. Bell Cottage has been on Magnolia for ages.
Yeah.
They were west of Hollywood Way, and then they moved to their current location at Lima. And I know our Ashley Erickson has texted me that she's working on a story. maybe a GoFundMe to help the family out that owns the store, because you shut a business down like that, and that's their main income.
And if they have to wait for insurance, you're talking about they might the whole rest of the year. They could be closed the entire rest of the 2024.
She is rather worried that the business might not make it if they for a long.
You got to pay rent still. There's not a clause that says, "Hey, if a car runs into your business, you don't have to pay rent."
And again, it was somebody speeding up Magnolia. Somebody, apparently a gentleman, was making a left to go down Lima. This guy going eastbound, younger kid going eastbound, darted, or is that called reaction? Went to the right to avoid the guy and right up the handicap ramp, right into Bell Cottage. So if you drive by Magnolia and Lima and you look, that's why it's all boarded.
I just can't believe the city would not have sent out somebody. I've heard so many times when you listen to the radios, send us a building inspector, no matter what the location is. And
it's
it makes no sense for Burbank not to do that.
But we'll have a story up the next couple of days. I know everybody, you've shopped in there. They have trinkets and memorabilia at Burbank and all sorts of stuff. So
we'll keep you informed. We'll let you know what's going on, and if there is a GoFundMe, we'll talk about it in the show, and hopefully we this is when people in Burbank need to all get together and support a longtime Burbank business. This is what we should be doing as citizens of our city.
For sure, help each other out. Now,
I will
along the lines of vehicle speeding, Ross, I sent you the screenshot of it, but Burbank PD on their Instagram did a post and sent a picture of a car that was stopped on San Fernando Boulevard going 109 miles an hour. 109 miles an hour on Laser going down San Fernando. I don't know exactly where on San Fernando. I can guess one or two places.
Between Hollywood Way, I talked to one of the officers that are working that today. Between Hollywood Way and Buena Vista, they're clocking them at over 100.
You know what happened? They probably got behind them, and the person actually decided to stop, because if they didn't stop, they're not going to get auzed to pursue that vehicle.
Part of that is being a former traffic officer. Is think how fast that motor had to go to catch up to that vehicle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The danger they had to put themselves in. But 109, the story said they went to jail, got booked, and the car got impounded for 30 days. Because if you're going over 100, that's a misdemeanor and a bookable offense. So I'm glad they went the full distance with this driver, because that is just wanton disregard for public safety.
Well, again, we talk about green streets. They changed Olive. They restriped it. They redid San Fernando. They're talking about green streets, making them safer, because a lot of people walk, push their stroller, ride their bike. And these people that are driving 100 miles an hour, you wonder why the city is changing things. People didn't like Verdugo changing. No, there were 4 lanes. You can get down. I'm sorry, folks. You're driving too damn fast.
Well, and going 109, it doesn't take much to lose control. Imagine if the car that went into that business on Magnolia was going 109 miles an hour.
Oh, it would have gone out through the back.
Well, it would have been like a bomb going off in that. When you're going that fast, any little correction, any movement, input on the steering wheel could send you out of control.
I saw something in the news today, which I thought was interesting. I think Culver City is like Burbank, and they don't pursue just for speed, but they have a 3-year contract with a company where they put this device on the front of their cars. And when they get behind somebody, they push this button and it launches a projectile that sticks to the back of the car they're pursuing with full GPS capabilities. So now they don't have to pursue it anymore. They can stop and they just let it go where it needs to go, and they can track it on GPS and not put people's lives in danger. So it's interesting. When you watch the video, you kind of wonder, okay, but interesting. So Culver City's, as of today, is going to give it a try.
The latest iteration of things launched from police cars to cars they're pursuing.
Well, technology is changing.
For decades, they've been launching different things to try to stop cars.
You know what I can't figure out is these cars have like most of them now have electronic systems, everything else, and computer systems. Why can't they just put kill switches on these cars that a police department could activate if they want?
You don't think the state wants to do that? Or the federal government wants to do that?
And what would be...
They want these kill switches in electric vehicles.
Yeah,
But
well,
may not be for that reason, but they've had there's been technology 30 years ago that
yeah.
would be like a little little cart that would drop down and launch from the front of the police car and go under the car they're chasing and short out the electrical system. But they realized that was a bad idea because they'd lose the power brakes, power steering, all of that, and usually end up crashing. So I'm dubious of anything being launched from the front of a police car during a pursuit and have it land where intended. I don't know.
And please don't do anything to hurt the driver who's trying to get away, because they will sue you and make it your fault from them running away.
Well, and the concern isn't necessarily about that driver. It's about what or who they hit when they lose control.
Yeah, that's true too.
Well, how many times we brought it up on the show, Green Streets, you think of that center medium that they're talking about putting in Magnolia, you wonder why.
Yeah.
You wonder why. It's to slow traffic down. It's to put, instead of having 2 lanes that you can race at 45 to 50, that's a 30-mile-an-hour zone, and that's too fast.
Well, there's so many signals on Magnolia, though. It's kind of hard.
You know what? I sat out there, and Teresa, the owner, said in front of their store, they put that newest signal is at Lima. You look from there all the way to Victory, and they were green all the way to Victory Boulevard. That's more than 2 miles away on a business district. Those lights need to change.
Well, I know, yeah, San Fernando and Glen Oaks, too, at least used to be that way. At night, all the lights, as far as you could see, would be green.
So you drive down Olive, though, you're going to stop at every damn signal there is.
Yep.
For a full cycle, even at midnight.
Yeah. But it's amazing how much money, time, and effort goes into enticing people to do the right thing.
Well, like I said before, the 3 E's: engineering, enforcement, and what's the third one, Craig? Help me out.
Education.
And there you go, education.
That's the part we're doing right now.
And you know what? I've said it, like Craig said, not everybody listens to my rant about slowing down. And this guy, they put up that picture of 100 and what, 2 or
109.
That's amazing.
I mean, I've stopped vehicles going that fast before. Sometimes it's hard to lock the laser because you're too busy trying to put it down to get after them. But they were alert enough to actually take a picture of it and post that and all that. It's just amazing.
So I'll just throw out there, if you want to test your speed, go up on San Fernando from Hollywood Way to Buena Vista.
Stop it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Go to a private track and race your car there.
Yep.
I think Irwindale still does that, don't they?
I thought I just read they're doing something just recently. Well,
maybe if you go to the Road Kings show, some of them might know where you can do it legally.
Well, if you go to, I learned last year, if you go to the Road King show, you might bring some earplugs or something because they got a car there. Man, you could hear that thing 2 blocks away. It's, open pipes and all.
Bring your checkbook, because if you like cool, like hot rod shirts and hats and stuff like that, I'm sure there's plenty to choose from there.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Well, my rant was a little long, but
we
I like your rants when we all get in. You get us all fired up, and you know my buttons, and they're usually traffic related.
We kind of rabbit holed a little bit on that one, but that's okay. I think it's all good information.
Well, for another week, for the week that was, the week that will be, what do you think?
I think we did it again.
I think and I thunk.
Well, from Craig Sherwood to Tally Ho, let's go. Me, the good old.
Done this before, have you?
You trying to remember
Usually Sherwood does
who
this.
Who are
part.
we?
To Mr. Durling.
And let's not forget
Dodger dog. He's still asleep. Look at that dog.
Even your rant didn't wake him up. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. We will talk to you again next week.
My Burbank Talks would like to thank all of My Burbank's advertisers for their continued support. Burbank Water and Power, Cusimano Real Estate Group, UME Credit Union, Burbank Chamber of Commerce, Game Credit Union, Providence St. Joseph Medical Center, Community Chevrolet, Media City Credit Union, UCLA Health, Tequila's Burbank, Logix Credit Union, Hill Street Cafe, Bertain Escobar Wealth Management, and the UPS Store on 3rd Street.